I'm Dr. Roca, and I am from Stamford Hospital, and I work at the Stamford Center for Sleep Medicine, and we take care of babies, children, adolescents, and adults. And we're happy to take care of any sleep problem. They will test your patience. They will make you more tired than you've ever been before. You're going to sleep, you wake up to take care of the crying child, you go right back to sleep, and all of a sudden, half an hour later, you're back up. And you have to go to work tomorrow, or your spouse has to go to work tomorrow, and it can be very, very exacerbating. So take time out for yourself. Appreciate the fact that occasionally it is going to be too much, and that's normal. Make sure you sleep when the baby sleeps. Don't take that time and say, oh, now I've got to do the laundry, I've got to clean the refrigerator. Take the time to rest. One of the world experts in this, Jody Mandel, said, you never find a normal high school student that wants to sleep in the bedroom with their parent. So eventually they're getting out. Exactly. Eventually they're getting out. So whether you want your child to sleep independently is a very personal decision. There's no right or wrong answer. If you decide you want to do this, how would you do it? The first thing is, when you're with your baby, if you're rocking the baby, you're feeding the baby, most of the time, even at 1 month, 2 months of age, most of the time, you should put the baby in the crib while they're still awake. Try to avoid having the baby sleep in your arms and then put the baby down. The point is, if you have the child in your arms and the baby falls asleep in your arms, the bed for that child is now your arms. That's the child's bed. That's what the child wants to recreate. So when you put the baby in the crib and the child wakes up, they all wake up. We all wake up in the middle of the night. And if he finds or she finds himself not back in mommy's arms or in mommy's breast, they're going to say, hey, I want to be back in bed. This thing is not my bed. Being next to mommy, nice and warm, that's my bed. So try to have the child go into the crib while they're still awake so they get used to that self-soothing. Again, none of this is an absolute. You have to make your own decisions. What is right for you, what is right for your family. Look, if you want to go into bed, if you want to rub your child's back, if you want to pick the child up when they cry, you can do all that, but realize that this whole process is going to take very long. This is SIDS. I'm sure you've probably all read about SIDS. Basically what happens in SIDS is that the alerting mechanism in a baby is not fully developed. And so, depending on their position, their CO2 levels can climb, and they don't have the strength, and they don't have the alerting mechanism to move their head or breathe in a different way. So that's the whole premise of back to sleep. By putting the child on their back, they have decreased the incidence of SIDS by more than 50%. Back to sleep. The child should always be on their back when they're sleeping. When they're awake, they should pretty much always be on their tummy. When they're asleep, on their back. In addition to that, you don't want to put in their crib nice, big, warm, cuddly blankets, a nice, big, fluffy pillow. Those are things that are deadly for a baby. Avoid smoking in the presence of the baby. That can increase the incidence of SIDS. Excessive heat has been associated with the incidence of SIDS. So you want the room to be slightly cool. You don't want the room to be too warm. Pacifiers have actually been shown to prevent SIDS. Breastfeeding. Breastfeeding has been shown to also decrease the incidence of SIDS. Now, the next topic is co-sleeping. And co-sleeping is very controversial. I was just at the International Sleep Meeting, and there was a pro and con discussion about this. The fact of the matter is, throughout the world, moms and their babies co-sleep. You go to Asia, Korea, Japan, it's very, very common co-sleeping. South America, co-sleeping is very common. However, The American Academy of Pediatrics have come out to say not to sleep in the same bed, not to have the baby sleep in the same bed. And the reason is that the incidence of SIDS is higher in babies that sleep in the same bed as the parents. Now, if you want to have a bassinet next to the parent, that's fine.